Hi, my name is Donna Swanson, and I'm the co-founder with my husband Fred of Focus Center for Autism. I'm also the executive director, and we have been in business for 21 years serving the autism community. We started as an extended day program, and now we have the Fresh Start School, which is a special ed, private special ed education school that's been in existence for 5 years. And then we also have 2 residential programs, one in Barkhamsted for teenagers with autism and trauma, and then we have supportive housing in Torrington for young adults with also with autism and trauma, and we're really trying to provide a continuum of care, and I think we do a good job of that. Our definition of autism is creatively wired and socially challenged. You are watching today as we do our Life on the Spectrum show that we do quite often, and we've had many, many guests, and we're going to continue to have guests. I'm with Dan Sitcovsky today, who is the Director of Autism Services, and we have a special guest, Jacob White, who is making his debut, and he wanted his 15 minutes of fame, and we are about to give it to him. How's those nerves?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
I'm gonna just do a couple more things, and then we'll turn it over to the rest of the show. But we are on Focus Center for Autism. We have a website. We would like you to like us on our Facebook page, which is Focus. They'll show the credits later, because I'm really not good at remembering all these little tiny details. But we are very proud of what we do. And Dan, what would you add?
Well, yeah, I'm just really excited to have Jacob on here because I know he's always wanted to be on TV.
Yeah,
and be able to tell a story.
And what would you say about Focus?
It really speaks to that Jacob's an alumni and now a volunteer. That Donna always says, it's like Hotel California, always stay connected, and we really wanted to make it a community that we feel comfortable with, that where you can grow and have your challenges, but still feel supported. So I think people feel that way. Yeah,
and our missions are to increase, what the school, and also to increase services for young adults and adults, because services are just lacking, period, for the entire autism spectrum. So, and for so many other people that are struggling. So, without much further ado, Jacob, how old are you?
I'm 19, and on September 30th, I will be 20.
Wow. And I have to say that Jacob is, at some point you may see another person here on TV that looks just like Jacob. And why would that be, Jacob?
I have a twin.
Yep.
His name is Keith.
You like to say he's your younger brother?
No, I do not, actually. But yeah, he's my twin. And he stayed at Focus alongside me for 5 years during the day program and the school program.
Mm-hmm. Why did you come to Focus? Why did you and Keith come to Focus?
Well, the thing was, I never really did too well in public school. I wasn't really getting the attention I needed, and because my autism was undiagnosed at that time, I wasn't getting the support I needed.
So, how did you get the help that you needed? How did you get the diagnosis, and how did you get the help? Because both you and Keith were feeling very uncomfortable in your school setting, right? Like misunderstood. Not that it was a bad school, it just wasn't a good fit for you at that time, right?
Yeah, right. I never really branched out, and I had actually gone through a lot during school. It's a long story, but I originally got the help when my dad was, he was fighting the school system for a long time, actually. And he was just trying to find a school that would help cater to our needs, because we had been diagnosed with autism after we noticed a very sharp decline in grades. Mm-hmm. And after a couple of years of searching, we finally got wind of Focus, and I don't think I would have changed that for the world.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. What were your needs that weren't getting met?
Mostly it was a lot of one-on-one stuff, like in a classroom of like 20, 30 people. You don't really get a lot of personal time with the teacher. It's not like they can be there at their every beck and call.
Right. How does your autism? How do you know you have autism? What makes you have this? Makes you feel autistic?
Well, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure I would have felt it if I hadn't been told about it. But a lot of testing I've gone under says it's a social thing more than anything else. Mm-hmm. I'd have to agree with that.
And there's sensory things too, right? I know you've been working on getting less overwhelmed by them, but I remember when you first started this, a lot of times you had to wear headphones because the noise, even in a small environment, was almost too much. It would make you overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was like something around 3 years, I had to constantly have those big headphones on to try and block out some of the noise.
And I can only imagine what the noise is like in a regular school.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, do you still need the headphones, or or just in special situations?
I mean, day to day, honestly, no. When I was at Focus, they said, I should probably find other ways to cope, and I agreed with them. So I gradually got over it. I guess if you want to talk special situations, I use earplugs.
Yep.
But that's because I can't have noise when I'm asleep. I'm a very light sleeper, and if I don't have something to stop the noise, I will be up all night.
So you've really learned some good coping skills. And Dan, one of the things that Jacob actually did for Focus without realizing it is the story that you were telling me on the way over here.
Yeah, he kind of started our interest in meditation and mindfulness about, it was like 5 or 6 years ago.
I think I had been here for a couple years before.
So I think but I think it was like 5 years ago now, where you were interested in it, and so that got me to look for something that we could do. So we did the Headspace with you if you ever needed it, and it kind of snowballed from there. Then we started looking into other stuff to bring meditation to the program, and now we do it. I think we're going to be doing mindfulness every day at the end of the day next year, and it started with you. And why did you think that would be helpful for you? What kind of started that for you?
It was probably because I had trouble focusing on things, and I found that a good pull-in was music. And whenever I really need to concentrate, I found stuff on like YouTube that would say like meditation and focus and stuff like that. So when I figured out things weren't kind of slipping up at Focus, I decided, hey, why don't I put the idea out there? It's like, hey, do you mind if I try some meditation? I mean, it couldn't have been too bad.
Yeah.
No, you said you got something going for us, and that it still lives on, and it's something that we're expanding on, and that really the kids on the spectrum truly do enjoy that, Dan, and you do a really good job of incorporating that.
And there's a lot of good resources now for mindfulness. Like we do the Mind Up curriculum, and it's really great because it links not just doing the meditations, but it kind of in each chapter explains like the brain and what's going on in the brain in different areas how meditation would help. So it's kind of like research based. Like this, we talk about now the amygdala a lot, and I make sure all of the kids know the amygdala and how that affects you and your immediate responses and how meditation helps you slow it down. So that's kind of, again, it started with you.
But what I remember also in the very beginning, Jacob, is that you could get frustrated really easily and even have some anger.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would agree with that.
That's because that's what happens is you get frustrated. That's the cycle of anxiety, is that you get frustrated, then you get anxious, then you get angry, then you can have behavior, and if we don't solve it, you end up back at the same place. So you do have anxiety, you get frustrated. Do you think you have anxiety? It's gotten better?
I'd say it's gotten better. I would definitely say anxiety is something in there. It's like it's minor things too. Like say you've got a dentist appointment or a physical, or hey, maybe it'll rain when you got plans.
Yep.
That sort of thing. It worries me. Huh?
It worries you.
A little bit. It has definitely gotten better, I'd like to say.
I can tell you, I haven't seen you that much in a while, and it's definitely gotten better. Your whole presence, your whole demeanor is that of somebody who feels more in charge of themselves and just more happy with yourself. And I don't know, are you the perfectionist? Are you both you and your brother kind of perfectionists? Or just, am I remembering it wrong?
Well, I don't know if I should say about my brother on TV.
Okay, well, I'll get him at another time. But how about you?
All right, me personally, I think the answer is yes. I do. I find myself a perfectionist. I'm not ashamed of that. It's just something I do.
I was going to add that we also talk a lot about no two people on the spectrum being alike. Everyone's very different. And I think a great example is you and your brother. Mm-hmm. You guys look very much alike, but how you process things is different.
Yeah.
So you're more, tell me if I'm wrong, but you get angry and frustrated in the moment, and it's hard for you to, whereas he is more quiet and keeps it more in. And that presents differently. So you guys are similar in a lot of ways, but even among twins, autism looks different.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So what does an angry Jacob look like? Or a frustrated Jacob? How would we know that?
Well, when I did get angry, I'd scowl a lot.
Yep.
It's also about body language, because when you're angry, you're more tight up.
Yeah.
You keep to yourself a lot more, huh?
And Dan, you never had behavior though, right? Did you have angry behaviors? Or?
I wouldn't say behavior, but it would be very obvious when you were upset with something. And the nice thing for you is you'd always be able to talk, but you wouldn't want to always hear what we had to say, right?
Yeah.
Jacob and I have had many conversations in the quiet room where he was not happy with what I was saying, but he would hear it, and then we would talk about it maybe later when he was more of a place. But he's always been able to have those conversations.
You're not going to say the chicken in the Dalai Lama story, are you?
I wouldn't.
Well, you don't want to hear that again?
I've heard it a lot. Huh?
But I feel like that was, I think your comfort with us too, is you'd be really angry, but you'd still be able to talk to us. Even when you were up here, you'd still be able to talk to us about things. You wouldn't have behavior, and you'd work through it.
Yeah.
The best you can.
You are a hard worker, and you do take things seriously in a good way. And sometimes, you set expectations for yourself that you have to work towards getting, and then you get frustrated. But I look at when you first came to Focus, and I look at you today, and it's just the growth is amazing.
In more ways than one.
Like your height. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not going there. No, we can. You definitely have grown into a very handsome young man. What do you see as some of the things that you've grown in besides height?
Well, I definitely would have to say independence.
Yep.
I found a lot of, I can work things out by myself. Like I've been actively trying to learn how to cook. I've actually found a great interest in baking, and I heard there was a cooking show.
Yep.
I might want to try and get into that at some point.
What about, now we're on TV, what about acting?
I have done acting, actually.
Ooh, tell us about that, Jacob.
I was in a play in Windsor High School, and it was about Clue. Not the board game, there was a movie, an old one.
The movie was based on the board game.
I know, I know. But yeah, I got one of the bigger parts in the play, and you could just say I was kind of anxious there. I was worried because, you look at this script and all the different lines, and it's hard to remember sometimes. But a lot of people said I did really well. In fact, after the play was finished, a lot of people from the audience actually came up to me and said I did really well, and especially I did the play twice, and there was a little addition I made the second performance.
What character were you?
I mean, if you don't know the game, you
I do know the
probably
game.
wouldn't understand. But I was Professor Plum.
Yeah, and Dan, you saw it, right?
Yeah, we went out to see him, and you didn't think we were coming, right?
No, I didn't honestly.
You gave us the tickets. You're
Yeah.
like, if you guys want to come, and I think that speaks. We really believe in community, and keeping in touch with people, even when people graduate. And I think it was important. Like, I mean, it was not just a good show. We wanted to show support for you.
Right.
Well, it wasn't that I didn't think you guys wanted to come. It's just, I was in Windsor, and Canton is where Focus is. That's like about 30 minutes. So.
Well, I know that they were so impressed.
Yeah.
Because 3 people went, you, Megan, and Amanda, and they were very, very impressed with you. I'm impressed that there are so many people on the spectrum that do find a voice in theater, and even I'm very pleased that you put yourself out there too. What made you decide to do that? Because that's sort of very much leaving your comfort zone.
Well, I guess I'm not 100% sure what sparked it, but I always had something in my heart for acting, and I was really shy, so I didn't really think I'd be able to make it onto like a play or something like that. But it was the second to last year of high school I was in, and I just decided to give it a go. I mean, it's not like the worst that could happen is I didn't get a part.
Right.
But, you miss all the shots you don't take.
I love that. Dan, we got to remember that.
Yeah.
You miss all the shots you don't take. I like that's a quote.
Yeah,
that's a good quote.
And you got the part, right?
I didn't write that.
No, I know.
Who wrote that?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll give I don't know credit, but I do like that. That's a good quote. What were you going to say, Dan?
Like
I'm
you
sorry.
believe that the worst thing that could happen is not that bad, and then you ended up getting a big part, right?
Yeah.
Did you expect that?
I don't know what I was expecting, but I know what I wanted. I kind of wanted the bigger part, like the butler, Wadsworth. That was the biggest part in the play, and I really wanted that.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm kind of glad that I didn't.
That was a lot. That guy was running around all the time.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
So Jacob, when we talk about being on the spectrum, having autism, what are some of your biggest challenges with autism?
I've taken a number of different tests and stuff like that, and I'm not sure if it's something that I've seen, but it's something I've been told a lot. It's a concentration thing. Like I've been told that I get very distracted easily. And I guess I would agree on that. And another one was the social one.
Yeah.
Like branching out, as Dan said, it's kind of difficult.
You think it was easier at Focus than it was in public high school to meet people or talk to people?
I think it was. It was a lot smaller of a group. You know, like Focus. At the time I was there, it was like one building and like 12 students. I mean, they've really blown up right about now, but...
And did you find people who had like similar interests to you that you're able to like easily strike up conversations with?
Yeah, I'd like to say that was a big factor. There were a couple people like I hit it off with right at the start, and I guess that kind of eased me into trying to meet the rest of everybody.
And there's a few people you got frustrated with, right? But you're in a smaller place that you could talk to staff about it, right? Because kind of practice that because there's going to be people in life that just you don't get along with. You have to learn how to. As you can see his face now, we've had this conversation many a time, so I'm kind of bringing it back for him. But you did you worked on it, right?
Yeah.
And Jacob, what are your strengths? And what would you like to tell the people out there as advice to parents and kids?
My strengths would definitely have to be, I really like, people say I have a really good work ethic. Like
I agree.
I've always had the goal in mind to finish what I start, especially with school work. Like big projects, it'd always be kind of overwhelming, but I was always determined to get it finished.
And what advice would you give to parents, kids on the spectrum?
I guess a big piece of advice that I'd give for parents would have to be is just to always remember what problems or weaknesses that your kids have, because some people would call us not normal. I know that for a fact, and sometimes it's not always best to treat us as normal. It's different. We work different, and I guess you just need to understand that.
Right.
Like, we have different needs.
Different needs, you work different, and for parents to understand that and try to understand how your child works, the works inside and outside. Dan, what would you add?
I would add that it's also sometimes tougher for someone like Jacob because you might appear neurotypical to someone, right? But you have these struggles. You were undiagnosed for a while, autism. So it's kind of inside more, and then you have and it comes out in different ways, and you're struggling. But people, like everyone has different needs, like you were saying. So it's important to trying to understand everybody.
And one of the things you said right in the beginning is that your father really advocated for you, and I think that that's something that parents are really good about is advocating for their kids and not giving up. So I am very pleased that you came on today and that you took a chance out of your comfort zone, and just so proud of all your growth and that you came back to us and volunteering, and it's just wonderful to see. You feel so solid inside to me, like you baked. You baked. You're good.
Yeah.
Speaking of baking, we'll see what we can do about getting some kind of a cooking show going here. And we want to thank you again for joining us with Life on the Spectrum, and hope that you will join us again.
Thank you.
And Dan, one final word?
I think it's just great that you're able to continue to do this and keep finding people to share their stories.
And you got your 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Of fame right here. And thank you, Nutmeg, for having us on, because we love doing this, and we have so many good stories to share and tell and all that. So see you next time.